Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor and privilege to present before you the business plan of Clonacion. But before I start, I would like to express my gratitude to the organizers of TyE Delhi and TyE Vancouver, who have given us this splendid opportunity to present before you all. And also my humble compliments to the citizens of Canada who have made Vancouver such a beautiful place to be in. If we have more time, we will surely be exploring it. The business plan, Clonacion and company. How many of you actually feel the need to be able to try on clothes before actually physically wearing them or buying them through e-commerce sites? Well, I guess most of you do, because that is why we, Clonacion, are here. We provide the many companies with the service of a virtual trial room so that users could go online and try on various outfits on the personalized 3D clones, make judgments even before buying them. In India, from where we arrive, a country of population of more than 1.2 billion people, almost more than 50% of the shoppers have this idea on the top wish list. But we, Clonacion, provide them with a service, a tool of best fit in their comfort zone. And to execute this project, I take great pleasure introducing my team, the board of Clonacion, the Fab Five. With me, Vasu Gupta, my geek, Kanika, Gadget Buster Jay, Operations Head Nikita, and Finance Head Ankush. Kanika, I would like you to take over and take our friends furthermore into detail of what the business plan is all about. Thank you.
Thank you, Vasu. And thank you, TyE Vancouver, for giving us this opportunity. It really is an honor. Clonacion is the next big idea, which will allow you to try on whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want. It will provide to you the service of a virtual trial room on the go, with your own virtual 3D lookalike, on which you can try on your various apparels and accessories. Clonacion has two different customer bases. The first is the business customer base, and the second, the individual consumer customer base. In the first customer base, we include the e-commerce websites, the online stores, and the different individual designers. In the second customer base, we include the individual customers who will be accessing these sites. Both these customer bases will benefit a lot from the services of Clonacion. For the first customer base, that is the business consumer customer base, they would have lower return rates due to the increased consumer satisfaction. These lower return rates will then later, in effect, become increased profits. As for the second customer base, the individual consumer customer base, they would have a much more user-friendly shopping experience, since they would be allowed to try on various outfits at once instead of a single item, and all that virtually on the go. Moving on to the major drawbacks that Clonacion would be answering to. These include the lack of personal touch and feel, user satisfaction, engagement, and trust. Clonacion will help you make key purchase decisions and accurate judgments, thus seeing what will fit you and what will suit you. In the future, Clonacion plans to stay ahead of the competition, and to do this, we will make constant updates. You can use your Clonacion clones for various purposes, such as using them in corporate meetings, advertisements, modeling, gaming and movie animations, and also customization. We conducted a survey in India using SurveyMonkey, and we're pleased to say that the findings are in our favor. When asked how many people shop online, 80% said that they do. And when asked how many of them had not even considered buying a product online, simply because they felt it might not suit them or fit them, 55% said that they hadn't considered it. And when asked how many of them had actually returned products because they were not satisfied with them, 95% of them had, and 40% had returned them more than 5 times. When asked how many of them would use Clonacion's application, 95% of them said they would. Evidently, Clonacion would become a success. Moving on to our workflow. Clonacion's workflow is divided into 4 different segments. The first stage includes the creation of the profile. Each user will have their own unique specific profile. This will include a username, a password, a verification by email and phone number, and then they would have to enter in the snapshots and measurements. In the second stage, our software would compile the snapshots and measurements into their own 3D personalized clone. In the third stage, the consumer, that is you, will access the online store, and then using your own Clonacion clone, you will try on the various outfits and accessories available. In the fourth stage, you will make the purchase, thereby concluding the workflow. Now, Jay would like to come up and discuss the strategies that Clonacion would be employing. Thank you.
Thank you, Kanika. Let me take you through the technical aspects of our business project. Our basic software has been created using 3 very simple softwares: Java, Adobe Photoshop, and a new software called Smart 3D Capture. Once you've clicked your photos and got your basic measurements, you can enter them into the Java application. Once this has been done, it uses Adobe Photoshop to create your basic structure of the clone. That is your background, your outline, and your basic body design. After that, the final clone, with your exact facial features, your natural colors, and the exact lookalike of yours, will be created using the Smart 3D Capture software. Our team conducted a SWOT analysis to figure out the weaknesses and the high points of our project. The results are as follows. Our strengths are the ability to try on clothes with a complete 360-degree view without having to wear them physically. We're a go-getter and well-to-do team who are passionate about this business project and wish to succeed. Also, this is a novel and a creative idea which hasn't yet been used before. Our basic weaknesses would be that our prototype, that is our software, has not yet been tested on a large scale, and we do not know how the people, that is the basic general market of ours, will respond to a new software which hasn't yet been used. Also, we're a group of fresh entrepreneurs still studying in high school. Our opportunities are that this greatly helps e-commerce websites increase their client engagement, increase their revenues, and reduce their return rates. Also, we have varying market size across various geographies to ensure good profits. Plus, we have a new and different software which nobody's been using, and we have a very effective privacy module. Our threats are basically going to be, first, our competition. That is other websites, that is e-commerce websites developing a similar software, or some other company like Clonacion and Co. developing a similar software. Another threat might be some new, completely different software coming up which can make our current software redundant. Our market size has been divided into two halves. The first half is our e-market size. Our e-market size at present, as you can see the first graph, is the greatest in the United States of America, the United Kingdom, and Japan, with approximately 210 billion, 110 billion, and 100 billion respectively. Our main target market in the fourth years would be these three countries. Apart from that, India is a very important target market as it is a developing country. It just has an income of approximately $1 billion, but soon it'll increase to at least 20 to 30 billion within the next few years. As per our second graph, it shows that at present approximately 60% of people living in the world use the internet, and at least 40 to 45% of these have access to e-commerce fashion websites. Our last graph shows that the fashion market size in China, the offline fashion market size, is the greatest in Asian countries like China and India, approximately 490 billion, giving us adequate market once we start our project. Even if we target just 0.01% of the entire market, we can easily get a turnover of $98 million. Now about our marketing strategy. How will we sell Clonacion? We've divided it into two halves. First half, selling it directly to the businesses. That is, we'll be following a direct sales policy. People from our company will be approaching those of other companies, giving them a demo of our product to showcase its value, and then giving out licenses to them on a yearly basis. Apart from this, we have to ensure that our software is not just limited to a single company, but available to all the companies, may it be in India or abroad, whoever want to use it. In our second phase, that is selling directly to the consumers, we shall have to follow aggressive strategizing and advertising in newspapers, magazines, applications, college and school festivals to ensure that we have a good server and a good crowd. Our competition. Well, we all take unanimous pride in telling you that our competition at present in the virtual 3D market is nearly zero. Had we been targeting the 2D market, we would have surely faced some competition from Indian websites like trylive.com and zugara.com, which have been using 2D feed and webcam feed to overlap clothes on what you're currently wearing. Even in UK and Canada, some websites have been starting using this for offline stores. That is, you go to the store and using Kinect, the software clicks a photo of yours and overlaps the clothes. But as I said, these are all 2D solutions and ours are going to be 3D, completely different and making us the front runner in the 3D virtual reality market. Moving on, I would like to tell you about operations. Operations are the key to the process success of any business plan, and also the end result financials of a successful business plan. So our Chief Operating Officer, Nikita, will now come and explain to you the revenue model of our financial plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. I am the operations head, and since operations are about revenues and expenses, I would like to explain to you the same through our revenue model. Our clients are basically divided into three categories: e-commerce stores like ShopClues and Snapdeal, and online and offline stores like Swarovski and United Colors of Benetton. We have taken a conservative view on our financials. We would be charging our clients with an annual minimum guarantee fee or a rate per sale, whichever is higher at the end of the year. The rate per sale in the first year is $1, and this value keeps on increasing every year by 10%. As you can see, in the 5th year, the rate per sale is $1.46. The annual minimum guarantee fee is different for each type of customer. It is $4,000 for e-commerce stores, $1,500 for online stores, and $1,000 for offline stores. We have conservatively estimated that we would rope in 5 e-commerce stores, 5 online stores, and 20 offline stores in the first year. Hence, our revenues in the first year is $152,000, and by the end of the 5th year, our revenues are $10.7 million, which indeed indicates that our business is scalable and capable of high turnovers. Our capital expenditure includes the money that we spend on our software development and acquiring resources. Our capital expenditure in the first year is $250,000. Our expenses include salaries, which constitute to about 65% of the total expenses. 15% of them are rentals, and the rest are all administrative expenses. Our expenses in the first year is $418,000, and by the end of the 5th year, our expenses are increasing. Thus, it indicates that our scale of operations are expanding. Now I would invite Ankush to explain the profit and loss statement and our fund requirements.
Thank you. I'm Ankush Goyal, the CFO of Clonacion and Company. I would begin with the P&L statement. In the first 2 years, our expenses are higher than the revenue we are generating. But in the 3rd year, we are breaking even and making a profit of $874,000. This increases, and our total profit after tax for the 5th year is about $6.2 million. Our EBITDA, that is the earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization, in the 3rd year, that is when you're breaking even, is about $1 million. In the 5th year, it's for $9 million. I would now move on to our balance sheet. According to our projections, in the 5th year, we have a total of $8.7 million as reserves. A detailed description of our balance sheet and all other financial statements have been provided for your reference. Fund requirements. We basically need a total of $725,000 to start our firm, out of which around $608,000 are being generated by getting our own personal equity, angel investors, and unsecured loans. We aim at getting VC funders in the 3rd year so that the financial base of a firm is even more stronger. Now, Jay will come and explain you the exit strategy and, of course, our customer sandbox.
Thank you, Ankush. Let me take you through some of the questions of the customer sandbox, that is some like the FAQs of our project. The first and most important being, how will our investors exit from the project once they feel that they have had enough profits? We have 4 strategies for that. The first is diluting our equity, that is selling some part of our project to some other people. Second, selling our entire company. Third, selling or merging our company with a bigger and better IT firm. Or fourth, if we are very successful, then making our company an IPO. About the privacy of our users, we shall ensure that whenever somebody creates a login ID for Clonacion, they will have a proper encrypted ID stored on a secure database online. Also, this will help prevent loss, misuse, or any mishandling of information. About our licenses, we shall purchase full and complete licenses for all our products and not purchase from any third parties, nor will we sell information to any third parties. I would also like to mention that our company is a socially responsible company. In the 3rd year, once we start making profits, we shall have representatives from our company going to the underprivileged areas, making clones of the people who are needy. Once these clones have been made, they will be updated on the databases of the NGOs, and they can easily match clothes depending upon what fits who, and then it's sent it directly to the donator. Before we conclude, I would like to mention that our team has approached many companies and venture financialists, out of which 3 companies, Swarovski, Pepe Jeans, and Benetton, and 3 venture financialists, Carl Mehta, Luminous Partners, and Spectra Projects, one of the best venture financial groups in India, have agreed to come aboard with us and invest in our project as either clients or investors once we start our project. Apart from this, the APEC, that is the Apparel Export Promotion Commission of India, has also agreed to support us in whenever we start our venture. We would now be open to your questions, your opinions, and of course, your money. Thank you.
So you're a software company, and you have revenues in the first year, which is pretty amazing. Um, have you really thought through the product development cycle? And you can actually develop a product, launch it, and have $152,000 of revenue in the first year?
Yes, we can develop the project. We've talked to some people in some of the hubs of Delhi who develop software, and we talked to them about this software, and they said that they can develop it within 1 to 1.5 months. So yes, we can get enough e-commerce sites, and we can develop the software and start our business.
You guys, so number one, it's definitely a great idea. You talked about threat. In the threats you mentioned it's a novel idea. I don't think that's a threat. This is not a novel idea. There are lots of people who are trying to develop this. You said your differentiation is 3D versus 2D. And it's great. Who is the development team here among you? Who's going to be a part of this development?
At present, me and Vasu shall be starting the development, but we plan to hire some consultants because we do not have really that much experience in software. So we shall be hiring consultants. We can do some basic programming, but this is a very high-level programming, so we can hire consultants.
And how do you wish to compete with the large companies who've got very large teams who are already far ahead on this piece?
At present, we've done some research, and most of the companies are completely focusing on 2D. 3D, there is really no company which is really focusing on 3D. So at present, we've done a lot of research, and there's not really any company. So at present, we are much ahead of any other companies, and at least the programming.
Also, I would like to add that with Kinect technology becoming more and more popular through the market, which is developed by Windows, of course, companies are trying to make a more user-friendly, interactive, more store-based softwares. But we are creating a software which is free of any platform and which could be used on various sites as well as offline stores.
Seems like your go-to-market strategy is built around integration with e-commerce sites.
Yes.
So what does it take for an e-commerce site to integrate this into their website?
The only there would be a basic software which is named as Smart 3D Capture. The .pde file should be uploaded. The site should be programmed to be uploaded those files, should be able to upload those files. Then only the clones would be appeared when the users would be purchasing the products.
Okay, and what does it take for those sites to essentially have that product data enhanced to be able to render the products on top of this profile?
Well, basically, this really helps the e-commerce sites, so they don't really have to do much. They can have like a link embedded in their website relating to our software. Then directly, this really helps. So people can just try on clothes, and thus, like 60% of people just reach the cart, the final purchase cart, and then they cancel their order. So instead of that, people know what they're planning to buy, they can easily just try it on, and if they like it, they can directly buy it, thus increasing their revenues and reducing the return rates.
So, something like this will work when the user experience is outstanding. Like if I'm looking at, buying a jacket, and okay, my 3D image is in there, and I'm trying one jacket, then I want to try many different jackets. Well, it has to fit on me properly. And then I want to say, okay, let me add on a tie. Oh, I like cufflinks, so I'm going to be very demanding in seeing a perfect rendition of what I'm doing, right, to avoid going to the store. Now, doing this is incredibly complicated. I mean, from a 3D standpoint, getting all the textures right and getting everything else, you guys need to have somebody who really knows this stuff inside out, and going the consultant's route is not necessarily the way to do it.
Well, in India, there is already a software employed by the fashion designing schools. It's called TyE, and in that you can actually create. See, the question which you have is related to the apparel, right? And combining the accessories and the different cufflinks and stuff. In that, you can actually create your outfit, see the texture, adjust it, and add whatever accessory you like. So we can either take help from those experts, or we can combine some other, get some other teams in and help us with that.
When do you plan to have a prototype out and try out the proof of concept?
For that, we need 3 months of development before the starting year. 3 months would be required to develop the software.
Talk to me about your sales. who was the head of sales? You're the head of sales. How do your first market, is that going to be US?
No, actually, we're starting in India.
In India, okay. But the total e-commerce sales of apparel in India today is how much?
It's actually written in the.
It's approximately 211 billion total fashion.
In India?
In India, it's 1.5 billion.
1.5 billion is online sales of apparel.
Online e-commerce sites of fashion, total fashion.
Okay. Do you think that's a better strategy, or is it better to start with a market which already has over 200 billion of?
If we start with
online
the US
sales?
market, it won't really work for India. We have to slowly, we'll have to move up, because if we directly start in a US market, somebody can easily copy our idea. But if we start in India, once we have a good customer database, then we'll go outside. If we once develop a good customer base in India, people outside will know about our software, so then they'll start using it. So it'll take a little more time to spread.
And also in India, we have the first mover advantage, which we might not have in the USA.
Well, to just build upon Jesse's point, the first mover advantage in a software is very, very short. So what are you guys thinking on how you're going to, if you're successful, if this works, you're successful in India, and how would you ramp up right after that so you don't lose the steam?
As you mentioned before, to keep ahead of the competition, we would be constantly updating our software. We would be introducing new services such as corporate presentations, superimposing our clones into games and movies, and further customizing, the users will be able to customize their products on the website itself, so that it would also help the designers know what the people's choice is, going on in the market.
And that would increase user satisfaction.
So, one of the, when you talked about exit strategy, which is great, if you're going to raise money from investors, you should also tell them how they're going to make money, which is very good. Most likely, if the exit strategy is an acquisition by another company, who do you think is going to acquire you?
There are lots of IT firms which would, if we develop a good software, there are lots and lots of IT firms or even e-commerce websites who might want to easily absorb us. There's a very successful project already working for say 3-4 months, and customers are really happy with it. Companies would be willing to pay big bucks for it.
Plus, we have been in contact with many companies, e-commerce companies such as Shopclues and Snapdeal.com. They have given us an endorsement letter, which we can show you as a proof on a mail. And they had also told us that we would be, helping us with the software and incorporating it on their websites and stuff. So to figure it out how it all works.
Also, we have the approval of AEPC, which is the Apparel Export Promotion Council. So basically, even if we do not manage to get investors by some chance in the e-commerce industry, the software would be acquired by the government.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.